Hello students. In this video, I'm going to tell you what you absolutely should not do while writing your personal narratives for the college application essays. My name is Mr. Shiflett and I've coached hundreds of students through hundreds of college application essays, so hopefully this video will help you out too. So let's keep in mind that the Common App essay and many of the others are personal narratives. They should tell a story of some kind. So let me read two of the prompts to illustrate, and so that you can have that in your mind as we go through these items. So some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent so meaningful they believe their application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, please share your story. All right, that was number one. Number three, the third prompt, reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or idea. What prompted your thinking? What was the outcome? So let's go through what you absolutely should not do. Number one is the number one problem I have when students come to see me about their essays. They think that they should regurgitate their CV or their resume or the things that they have accomplished through school. This is just not true, okay? Do not do that. This should be a personal narrative. So, no regurgitation of your resume or your CV. They're going to see that in your list of accomplishments on your CV. So it's there already. You need to jump out of the page and be a real person to them, all right? So, number two, this one's a tough one. Don't be way too personal. If you've experienced a really traumatic event in your life, hopefully you've gone to a counselor and sought help and advice, but this is definitely not the place to put this in. You don't want to try to get too much sympathy from the reader, because they've seen a lot of these, and it's not something that makes you become a real person. They want to know about obstacles you've overcome and certain things like that. Now, if you're illustrating something kind of bad that happened and you've overcome it, you've changed as a person, that's great, that's fine. But it should not read like Angela's Ashes or 1,000 Broken Pieces or any of those whatsoever. You don't want to make the reader, the acceptance committee, feel really uncomfortable and think, gosh, should I get a hold of their counselor? Should I send the police to their parents? Just please don't do that. Number three, this is a bad one too. This is a big one. So, the social problem or the bandwagon issue of the season. There are always exceptions to these if you can do it in a particular way, but usually you're not the exception. But bandwagon situations, right now, quite obvious. COVID-19. Everyone is going through COVID-19, okay? In fact, a conference with Brown admissions, they said that they know that all their students that all the applicants are going to be writing about that. So they've set aside a place where they can submit those also, so that they can get their feelings and emotions out about that. However, that's not going to be in their main acceptance essay. Or for example, the terrible event that just occurred in Beirut, that explosion. Unless you use it, well, especially if you're there and you've helped people overcome trouble there, then okay, then of course you can use it. But if you're outside of that country, don't exploit it for your own essay in some kind of way. Okay, don't say that you started a Twitter or an Instagram campaign to help them. That doesn't help much, and I've seen these in essays. So don't exploit a situation either. Okay. Number four, an unbelievable a life-changing experience. The admissions committees see these all the time. They see through them. So you went off to a camp and it completely transformed the way you think about the world in your life, and you're forever a different person. No, that's just a bit much. Now, if you had an experience that broadened your perspective, that changed in some significant ways how you see things, but not that just completely changed your life and your philosophy and your religion and that sort of thing. Those are a bit over the top. There are many of those every year. Likewise, you shouldn't have a completely unbelievable story about how you changed the world or the lives of many or something like that. I had a student many years ago. He said that he came up with the concept and the drive and the idea to change the energy system of some villages with windmill, river, water, etc. That just did not come off as believable. And it turned out I ended up hearing that story a few more times, and it was like a community project that some students helped with. So if you have some story about how you completely changed the lives for the better of a community or of the world, there better be CNN coverage of it. Number 6 gets pretty old as well. Using a cliché or often used idea. In Istanbul, the one that is often used is, Istanbul is the bridge between two cultures and two continents. Ideas like the path between high school and college will be like a tightrope that I will walk cautiously. So just stay away from cliches. Number 7, Harry Potter changed my life. Now, Harry Potter specifically, that's falling off year by year. But if there's a book, especially a young adult book that a lot of people are reading, or a TV show or a very recent movie, don't use those characters. Millions of people apply every year to colleges. That means thousands and thousands of people are going to have that same kind of cliched idea and character as well. Now, if it's a more obscure book, a more literary one that people don't read a lot and that would really intrigue that college committee reader, then sure. Because remember, these committees, the readers for these committees, read thousands and thousands of essays. If they keep reading the same thing over and over again, they're just going to keep throwing them aside. But something that piques their interest, there you have it. Also, a lot of the supplementals will ask you, what is your favorite book or something like that. And then once again, when you get to those supplementals, don't talk about very common young adult books and books that have been out for the last couple of years that everyone's read. Just stay away from that, because if you have that idea, thousands of other students do as well. Number 8, the internship that I had for 1 week last summer completely changed my worldview, changed my life, etc. This one is used quite often, and a lot of times the student completely has to rewrite it or do something else with it, because, okay, if you use an internship to talk about how it changed your perspective or made you overcome some adversity, or it made you understand diversity in some way, okay. However, a lot of the supplementals will also ask this kind of question. So a lot of students will end up saying, no, I need to use this for these 5 or 6 supplementals that I'm writing for different universities. So I need to think of a different personal essay. So the personal essay should tell a story, and it should not just be about a research internship that you had or some kind of internship, unless it tells a really good story about some kind of broadening of your ideas. Not world-shattering, world-changing, but just a really good story that can show how you can overcome some adversity or change your views a little bit. There's actually a really good example. I'll have it at least in my class that I'll put online, or also perhaps I'll put it in a different video, a really good example about someone who did an internship, and the story was beautiful. I mean, I almost cried a little bit when I read it. But anyway, so cliched, this research internship completely changed my life, doesn't work. You also might want to use that for a supplement. Number 9, essays that seem like they're answering a Miss America-esque type question. How can we end world poverty? How can we get water to all of the world? Those are important issues, but they're not within the scope of a personal narrative. They don't show enough about who you are as a person. I mean, at least 99.99% of the time, these type essays don't make the writer's personality come off the page, and it comes off very cliched. And number 10, this one has become very annoying to me. Do not open with a pop song lyric. Do not open with a quote from Gandhi. Do not open with a Webster's dictionary definition of a word, okay? I am going to go crazy if I see any more of these. And if I am going crazy, so is the admissions committee. Please stay away from this kind of essay opening. Number 11, it should go without saying, but it doesn't. Way too often. Do not get someone else to write your essay, okay? The admissions committee, they need to see you. You need to come out of the page. You need to become a real rounded person to them. That's the only way they're going to be able to differentiate you from all of these other applications, okay? They're reading thousands and thousands of them. So many sound the same. If you get someone else to write your paper, it's not going to sound like you. If you hire some old guy, if you were to hire me to write your essay, it would come off as some old guy trying to sound like a teenager, okay? Also, if your writing level isn't to the level of your Harvard tutor that you have, it's going to be obvious. Your counselor, college counselor, whatever, is going to notice it. If it doesn't match with your GPA and what you've written in other essays, in other classes, etc., it's going to be obvious to the admissions officer. Please write your own. And if you get help from somebody, which the admissions officers ask you to, because you need to put your best self forward, your best essay forward, it should be clear of grammar mistakes, of spelling mistakes, of typos. Best ideas should be organized in a really good way. They want you to get help. But if you do get help, don't let people change a sentence here, a sentence there. That is very obvious. So often someone comes into me with an essay. I've had them as a student. I can see their personality in much of their writing, and then suddenly there's 2 or 3 lines that sound very erudite, okay? Esoteric. Obviously not them, okay? There are Harvard essays, MIT essays, UChicago essays that are very informally written, but it shows the personality of the person. So your writing style is just fine. Just take time. Just take time to write it so that your personality can come out in it. So there you have it, 11 things that you should absolutely not do on your Common App essay, and also your personal narrative essays for other colleges. And in the next video, I'll tell you at least 10 things that you absolutely should do on that essay. If you have questions, please leave those in the comments below. And also look for a link to the class that I'm putting online. And otherwise, I will see you all on the next video.